Okay folks, so we've got that last coat of drywall mud on here, and I've just got this all sanded out. So if you've been following our little series on refinishing the walls in this mobile home, this is the end of the mud work now, and we're going to start painting. So I've got a few walls painted here. I've started at the front and just kind of show you what we got going on here. So this is the primer coat, and this is the PVA primer. I'll show you in the can what it is. So this is just the primer after the drywall, and you can see we've got the ceilings primed out. So the next stage on the ceilings is going to be putting a stain blocker on. These old ceilings, you need to put a stain blocker on, otherwise you can get some bleed through from the old drywall. But you can just kind of see how this has all come together here now. And this is the bathroom. And so if you've been sticking with me from the beginning, you'll remember what the mess this wall was. And you can see now how it's all smoothed out. So our ceilings, I'm going to be doing a very fine texture on them. So the process with the ceilings is I've done this PVA primer, and then I'm going to do a stain blocker, and then I'm going to spray the ceilings with the texture, and then I'm going to finish them with a coat of ceiling paint after that. Alright, so I'll just give you a kind of a walkthrough here to show you, what this kind of looks like when your taping is all done and sanded out. So you can see here how where the joints are, it's kind of soft here, just kind of melts into the wall here. We don't have any ridges, there's no marks anymore. This was all sanded out with 120 grit sandpaper, and again, I just used the pole sander here to sand the wall. So just basically this. And in the areas where I couldn't get at it with the pole sander, like in the corners, I used my little hand sander. Once I got it all sanded out, what I did then was vacuumed everything, gave it everything a good cleaning. So you want to get rid of as much dust as you can. So what I like to do is I vacuum everything. So I vacuum the ceilings and the walls and everything, and I just use my my industrial vacuum cleaner there. I just use a brush. All right, and so that just kind of shows you how it looks. Once you got all your taping done, you can see how everything is just smoothed out and blended in. I've cleaned up all around all of my electrical boxes. Now, after I get done with the prime coat, there's still going to be some touch-ups. So, this has been primed, and so here, I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera, but you can see there's some little air bubble marks there. So, once you get the primer on, you can really see a lot of those things. And so, once I get it all primed out, I'll be going through with some spackling compound then. And just touching up any of the places that need a little work yet. Much easier to do it after you get some paint on the walls, because it's quite a bit easier to see. All right, so now we're into painting, and so the paint that I use, so this is the this is the primer here. I buy it in these 5-gallon buckets. You can buy in the 1-gallon buckets. But at my paint store, I like to shop at Sherwin-Williams. And I save $2 a gallon, so I save $10 if I buy it in the 5. To do this whole mobile home, the ceilings, the walls, I'll be using 2 of these pails of primer. And it's just a white, it's called a PVA drywall primer, and that's what my paint guy supplier recommended. And as a base coat, what the PVA primer does is it just ties all of your you know, the old drywall, the new drywall, you know, the gypsum panels, the drywall mud, you know, any places where your panels have been painted before previously. This just kind of, you know, brings it all together. So when I spray the ceilings, I'll show you a little bit more in depth on that. That will be in the next video. I'll show you the spraying of the ceiling. This we're just getting ready for that. So this video is about getting some paint on the walls. And then, so this is actually, I don't know if you can see it, this is going to be the color here. So I'm using a gray color, and this is, we use the super paint for our second and third coat. So this will be a 3-coat paint job by the time we get done. So it's a 1 coat of PVA primer, and it will give it 2 coats of this. The process that I do is I do 1 coat of color on the wall. Where I do the cabinets and stuff, like in the kitchen, I'll use the second coat of color so that it's finished under the cabinets. But I don't do the final coat of paint until everything is done, because there's always, you know, you're using tools and moving stuff around. Your walls are always get marked up. So that's the process that I do. So that's kind of in a nutshell here, but you know, this just shows you what your job should look like, you know, once you're all done, sanded out and cleaned up and ready for paint. All right, I'll keep painting here, and I'll give you another look once I get, you know, a little further on. All right, folks, the priming is all done. It's looking very bright and white in here now, compared to the old dingy place that it was before. So I've put the PVA primer on all of the walls and all of the ceilings, and I followed that up now with a coat of stain blocking primer on the ceilings. And again, that stain blocking primer the purpose of that is to seal it, to keep it from yellowing. That old drywall and that old mud from the old ceiling underneath there, if you don't do a stain blocker on it, it will continue to bleed through your new finishes, and you'll end up with a yellow looking ceiling. So again, I'll just show you the products here that we used. So this is the PVA. That stands for I think it's polyvinyl acetate, a drywall primer and sealer. And so we've you know, done all the walls and everything with that. And what that's done, if you remember when we started, you know, we had kind of a mix of new drywall, the old gypsum panels, which was like a vinyl covering, and there was some new drywall, old drywall, and then we had the joint compound, you know, the mud. And so, you know, just the PVA primer really brings that all together now. So what we have now is a nice, smooth, hard finish. This dries pretty hard. This is very sandable, and gives us a really good base, you know, to carry on with the rest of our paint. So, you know, it gives you good adhesion. This sticks very well, you know, to all of those old materials, new materials, the drywall mud. It seals the drywall mud. So now we have a nice, you know, really nice surface to work from here. So on the ceiling, this is the product that I use here. This is it's a quick dry stain blocking primer. This is a latex based. In the past, I've always liked to use oil based. One that I have used with good success is Kills. If you have a ceiling that's really bad, you know, really stained from you know, cooking and smoking, if there's a lot of nicotine on the ceiling, I would suggest that you use an oil based. But this ceiling wasn't too bad. It was just kind of old and wore out, and so I thought I would use this latex, because latex is a much easier product to work with. And it's come out, you know, very nice. You can see that it's very crisp and white. We have no sign of that yellowing coming through now on this coat. There was on the primer coat. You could definitely see the yellow coming through on that. That PVA primer is not a stain blocking type of material. And so, you know, that's taken care of it. One place I have a little bit of a problem here is, if you can see it right there on that edge, that's the old corner bead. And that kind of orange color that you see there is actually rust. And so, you know, I've given this a couple coats of that, of the PVA primer, and you know, again, the stain blocker, but it's still bleeding through. So the way I'm going to have to fix that is, I'm just going to pick up a spray can of the Kills, you know, that's an oil, but the oil-based Kills. And then what I'll do is I'll just spray that, you know, before I do my texturing and carrying on, and that will seal that up so we won't have any of that bleed through anymore. All right, so I'll just give you a walk through here to kind of see how this, you know, has come together. I already had you in this room here, and this is the bathroom, so you know we're all ready to go with our ceilings. That'll be the next video. We'll show you how we're going to do those ceilings. So again, you know, it's just going to be a very light spray text. You're not even going to really notice that it's textured. It's just very, very light, but it's just enough that it covers up all of the imperfections in the ceiling. So, you know, from where we started, if you remember, go back to the first videos there, you know, we had that old gypsum panels on the walls. Every 4 feet we had a batten strip, you know, where the panels met. We had crown moldings around the top, and we had some chair rail kind of moldings, you know, the wood moldings on the corners. So, you know, that stuff's all gone. So now you can see we've got, you know, regular corner bead. Molding's all gone. It looks very contemporary now. That beam is going to get covered with wood at a later date. That's going to take care of that. I'll just give you a walk through the whole thing here. But it, you know, it looks really good now that everything's, you know, smoothed out, and you know, it looks like a house. A little laundry area here. And if you have been following on with us, you remember the mess that this was. The washer and dryer are going to sit, and how we've taken care of all that now. Master bedroom. Again, you know, the ceilings are all ready to go here. And if you can remember this wall was rough. This whole room was rough. Holes in the walls and everything else. And our little ensuite bath here. Smells really good in here with the new paint. So now you might be looking at these ceilings and you might be thinking, why is he going to texture them? Now, I don't know if this is going to show up in the video or not, but when you get the light coming across it, you can see there's a lot of imperfections in these ceilings. Like, they're pretty rough. You know, there's all kinds of little divots and stuff in there. Maybe you can see it here. You know, there's an old joint. I'm not sure if that's going to show up on the camera or not. But if you were here in this room looking at this, you would see it looks, you know, it looks, you certainly couldn't leave it. You know, if you're standing 5 feet away and looking up at it, and there's no light coming across it, it looks pretty good. But, you know, to get these ceilings, you know, it's very popular these days just to have a painted ceiling. But, you know, to get these ceilings to that point where you could paint them and leave them painted, it's a lot of work. It's a pile of work. And, you know, it's, for me, it's not worth the time and effort. So, I don't know if you can see, there's a little divot there. You know, all that stuff now is going to disappear when we put that that light coat of spray on it. And you know, again, when we after we do that light spray, we're going to follow that up with a spray coat of our Eminence ceiling paint, which is just going to kind of blend everything. It tones down the texture a little bit, and like I say, you walking in, you just won't even hardly notice that it's textured. Certainly a lot less than that popcorn ceiling. And interestingly enough, you know, I was in you know, a new home here a little bit ago, a new mobile home, and they're still putting that popcorn ceiling on, and man, it's ugly. So this is going to still have a texture, but it won't be popcorn. It's going to be very, very subtle, and it's going to hide up all that you know, rough stuff that's still remaining there. All right, folks. So so that's it for this video. The next video is going to be quite interesting. I'm going to be spraying these ceilings, so I'll be showing you how I prep for that with masking and stuff, and then I'll be showing you the equipment that we use to you know, to apply the texture, and the mud that we use, and just, you know, that whole process. So that'll be the next video. I hope you're enjoying these. This little series is almost coming to an end on this refinishing the walls and ceilings. And once we get done with that spraying, then spray texturing, then we do the paint on the ceiling, and then we're going to do one coat of color on the walls, and then we're going to get into the finishing and the millwork and cabinets and stuff like that. So it'll be a nice change of pace. It's been a long haul to get to this point. It's a lot of work. It's many hours of work. You know, I work at this by myself here, so you know, it's taken some time. And then I took a couple months off there because of the pandemic and one thing and another. But yeah, we're gonna get this thing finished up and get it on the market. All right, folks. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.